My wife slept with our daughter's 21-year-old husband. I found their messages while helping her fix her phone. She looked me in the eye and said, "We didn't mean for it to go that far." I said nothing. Just packed a bag, filed for divorce, and forwarded the screenshots to our daughter. Now they're both cooked. I never thought I'd be one of those men writing a post like this. I'm James, 52, and until 3 weeks ago, I was living what I considered a pretty good life. Sarah and I had been married for 29 years. We raised 2 children together, our daughter Emma, 24, and our son Liam, 20. Emma got married last year to Tyler, 21, a good kid who seemed to genuinely love her. We welcomed him into our family, and I'd even helped him get a job at the construction company I manage. Sarah had always been my rock. We'd weathered tough times, financial struggles when the kids were young, my father's death 5 years ago, her mother's battle with cancer. Through it all, we remained strong together. At least, that's what I thought. It was a regular Tuesday evening when everything fell apart. Sarah had been complaining about her phone acting up, apps crashing, messages not sending properly. Since I'm the designated tech support person in our house, despite barely understanding half the settings myself, she asked if I could take a look at it. "James, can you please check my phone? I think something's wrong with the messaging app," Sarah said, handing me her unlocked phone as she headed to the kitchen to start dinner. I sat down at the dining table and opened her messaging app to see if there were any obvious issues. That's when I saw a conversation with Tyler at the top of her recent messages. It struck me as odd. Why would Sarah be texting our son-in-law so frequently? Out of curiosity more than suspicion, I tapped on it. What I saw made my blood run cold. "Tyler, I can't stop thinking about yesterday. When can I see you again?" "Sarah, Emma has that conference this weekend. She leaves Friday morning." "Tyler, perfect. I'll tell her I'm working overtime." "Sarah, my heart races every time I think about your hands on me." "Tyler, you're amazing. I've never felt this way before." "Sarah, we should be more careful though. James almost walked in last time." "Tyler, worth the risk. I need you." There were pictures too. Intimate ones. I won't describe them here, but they left no doubt about what was happening between my wife and our daughter's husband. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. The room started spinning, and I gripped the edge of the table to steady myself. 29 years of marriage, and this is what it had come to. My wife sleeping with our daughter's husband, a kid nearly 30 years her junior, who was married to our child. I scrolled back through their conversation. It had been going on for at least 2 months, starting shortly after Emma and Tyler had a big fight about having children. Emma wanted to wait a few years to establish her career first, while Tyler was eager to start a family right away. Apparently, Sarah had comforted Tyler, and that comfort had turned into something else entirely. I put the phone down and tried to process what I'd just learned. The betrayal was multi-layered, not just to me but to Emma. I thought about confronting Sarah immediately, but decided to take some time to think. I excused myself, saying I needed to run to the hardware store for something, and drove around aimlessly for hours, trying to figure out what to do. When I returned home, Sarah was watching TV in the living room. Her phone was on the coffee table. She'd completely forgotten I was supposed to be fixing it. That told me everything I needed to know about how concerned she actually was about the technical problems. "Did you fix my phone?" she asked casually. I sat down across from her. "I saw your messages with Tyler." Her face went pale. For a moment, she said nothing, then attempted to laugh it off. "What are you talking about?" "Don't," I said quietly. "I saw everything. The texts. The pictures. Everything." Her eyes welled up with tears. "James, how long?" "2 months, she whispered. "Why? Why him, of all people?" "It just happened," she said, wiping at her tears. "He was having problems with Emma, and he came to me for advice. One thing led to another." "One thing led to another?" I repeated incredulously. "He's our daughter's husband, Sarah. He's 21 years old." "I know," she said, her voice breaking. "I know it's wrong. I got caught up in feeling desired again. Tyler made me feel young and wanted. And I didn't?" She looked away. "It's different. You and we've been together so long. The passion isn't the same." "So you decided to find passion with our son-in-law instead of talking to me about our marriage?" She looked me in the eye and said, "We didn't mean for it to go that far." That phrase, so dismissive of the damage she'd caused, so unwilling to take responsibility, was what finally broke me. I said nothing more. I simply stood up and walked to our bedroom, pulled out a suitcase, and started packing clothes. Sarah followed me, panicking. "What are you doing?" "James, please, we need to talk about this. It was a mistake. I'll end it, I promise. Please don't throw away 30 years over one mistake." "You already did that," I replied, continuing to pack. "And it wasn't one mistake. It was dozens of choices, made day after day for 2 months, to betray not just me but our daughter." "Please," she begged. "Don't tell Emma. It would destroy her. You should have thought about that before you slept with her husband." I finished packing, grabbed my laptop and important documents, and headed for the door. Sarah blocked my path, crying hysterically now. "Where are you going?" "Away from here. I'll be staying at the Marriott downtown for now. Don't try to contact me, I'll have my lawyer reach out to you." "Lawyer?" James, please, we can work through this. I looked at her one last time, this woman I'd loved for nearly 3 decades, the mother of my children, now a stranger to me. There's no working through this, Sarah. It's over. The hotel room was sterile and lonely, but it was better than staying in a house filled with lies. The next morning, I called in sick to work for the first time in 5 years and contacted a divorce attorney. By noon, I had an appointment scheduled for the following day and had forwarded screenshots of Sarah and Tyler's messages to my email as evidence. Then came the hardest part, deciding what to do about Emma. Should I tell her the truth? Or let Sarah and Tyler continue their deception? The thought of my daughter living unknowingly with a husband who was sleeping with her mother made me physically ill. In the end, the decision was simple. If I were Emma, I'd want to know. She deserved the truth, no matter how painful. I couldn't protect her from this betrayal, but I could ensure she wasn't living a lie. I forwarded the screenshots to Emma with a simple message. Emma, I'm so sorry to have to share this with you. I found these messages on your mother's phone yesterday. I've left the house and will be filing for divorce. I love you and I'm here for you whenever you're ready to talk. Dad. Then I turned off my phone, unable to bear witnessing her reaction in real time. When I turned it back on 6 hours later, I had 37 missed calls and over 50 text messages. Most were from Sarah, begging me not to go through with the divorce, swearing she'd end things with Tyler, pleading with me not to destroy our family. Several were from Emma, ranging from disbelief to heartbreak to rage. There were even 2 from Tyler, threatening me for ruining everything. I called Emma immediately. She answered on the first ring. Dad? Her voice was hoarse from crying. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. Is it true? The messages, they're real? Yes. She broke down sobbing. How could they do this to us? I don't know, I answered honestly. I confronted Tyler, she said between sobs. He admitted everything. Said it didn't mean anything, that he still loves me. How can he say that after sleeping with my mother? What are you going to do? I asked gently. I kicked him out. I'm staying with Jess right now, she said, referring to her best friend. I can't face Mom. She's called me like 20 times. You don't have to face either of them until you're ready. Or ever, if that's what you decide. Are you really getting divorced? Yes. I've already contacted a lawyer. There was a long pause. I think I'm going to divorce Tyler too. Whatever you decide, I'm here for you. Thank you for telling me, Dad. It hurts so much, but I needed to know the truth. After talking with Emma, I felt simultaneously heartbroken for my daughter and relieved that I'd made the right choice in telling her. The next few days were a blur of legal consultations, finding a short-term apartment to rent, and arranging to pick up more of my belongings when Sarah wasn't home. Word spreads quickly in families. Within days, everyone knew, Liam, my siblings, Sarah's family, our friends. The reactions were mixed. Most people were shocked and supportive of Emma and me. A few, including Sarah's sister, tried to convince me that marriages could survive infidelity and I should at least try counseling. I declined. Some betrayals cut too deep for reconciliation, and this was one of them. Sarah's reputation was in tatters. She had always been the perfect mother, the devoted wife, active in our community and church. Now, people looked at her differently. She took a leave of absence from her job as an elementary school teacher after rumors began circulating among parents. Tyler faced consequences too. I fired him from the construction company. I couldn't stomach seeing him every day, and frankly, I didn't trust him around any of our female employees after what he'd done. With his limited experience, finding another job with comparable pay proved difficult. Emma moved back to her apartment but asked Jess to stay with her for moral support. She filed for divorce a week after discovering the affair. When Tyler came begging for forgiveness, she recorded the conversation and posted it on social media, exposing his lies and manipulation to all their friends. It might have been petty, but I couldn't blame her. Sarah continued to try to contact me, sending emails since I'd blocked her number. She claimed Tyler had manipulated her, that she'd been vulnerable, that she'd made a terrible mistake but still loved me. I didn't respond. The divorce proceedings moved forward. 2 weeks after moving out, I received an unexpected visitor at my new apartment, Liam. We hadn't talked much since everything happened. He'd been away at college and preferred texting to calls. Hey, Dad, he said awkwardly when I opened the door. Liam. This is a surprise. He shrugged. Can I come in? We sat in my sparsely furnished living room, neither of us quite knowing what to say. Mom's a mess, he finally offered. That's not my problem anymore. I know. I'm not asking you to take her back or anything. He sighed. This whole thing is so messed up. I can barely look at her, but she's still my mom, you know? I understand. She's your mother, and you love her. That doesn't have to change because of what happened between us. And Tyler, Liam said, his face hardening. I trusted that guy. We played video games together. I thought he was good for Emma. We all did. I wish you would have let me punch him when I saw him at Mom's last week. That caught my attention. Tyler was at the house? Liam nodded. Yeah. I stopped by to pick up some stuff, and he was there talking to Mom. They were arguing about something. When they saw me, they both looked guilty as hell. So they were still in contact. Not surprising, but disappointing nonetheless. I wondered if Emma knew. How are you doing, Dad? Really? The question caught me off guard. I'd been so focused on the practical aspects of dismantling my marriage and supporting Emma that I hadn't spent much time processing my own feelings. I'm surviving, I answered honestly. Some days are harder than others. Liam nodded. You did the right thing, telling Emma and leaving. I would have done the same. His support meant more than he could know. Later that night, I got a text from Emma asking if she could come over the next day. When she arrived, she looked better than I expected, still sad, but more composed than during our last conversation. I've been thinking a lot, she said as we sat at my kitchen table. About Mom and Tyler, about what happens next. And? I'm moving to Seattle. I got a job offer there last month, but I was going to turn it down because Tyler didn't want to leave. Now, there's nothing keeping me here. Seattle's a big change. I need a fresh start, Dad. Every place here has memories. The house I grew up in is tainted now. Most of my friends are couple friends from when Tyler and I were together. I just want to go somewhere new where nobody knows what happened. I understood her desire to escape. Part of me wanted to do the same. When would you leave? 2 weeks. The company needs someone to start right away. That's fast. I know. But I've already found an apartment, and the company is helping with relocation costs. She paused. Would you be mad if I didn't come back for a while? Even for holidays? Of course not. You do what you need to do to heal. She smiled sadly. Thanks, Dad. Have you talked to your mother at all? Emma's face hardened. No. She keeps trying, but I'm not ready. I don't know if I'll ever be ready. She chose her daughter's husband over her family. Who does that? I had no answer for her. A month into the separation, my lawyer called with news. Sarah was contesting the divorce, claiming temporary insanity due to depression and requesting marriage counseling before proceeding further. It was a desperate move that wouldn't hold up legally but would delay the process. During the preliminary hearing, Sarah's lawyer painted a picture of a neglected wife seeking emotional connection. According to them, I had been distant for years, focusing on work instead of our marriage. Tyler had provided the attention she craved, and in her fragile emotional state, she'd made a regrettable mistake. It was fiction, of course. While our marriage hadn't been perfect, whose is? I'd never neglected Sarah. We still had date nights twice a month. We took vacations together. We talked about our days. The narrative they created was designed to shift blame, and it infuriated me. My lawyer advised staying calm, letting them make their case, and then dismantling it methodically with evidence. We had the text messages showing Sarah's active participation and initiative in the affair. We had financial records showing the gifts I'd bought her over the years, the trips we'd taken. We even had testimony from friends about our seemingly happy marriage. But the most damning evidence came from an unexpected source. 2 days before our next court date, I received an email from Tyler with the subject line "The truth about Sarah." Normally, I would have deleted anything from him without reading it, but something made me open this one. James, I know you hate me, and you have every right to. What I did was unforgivable, and I've lost everything because of it. Emma, my job, my friends. I'm not asking for forgiveness or sympathy. I'm writing because you should know the truth about how things started with Sarah. She's telling everyone I manipulated her, that she was vulnerable and I took advantage. That's not what happened. Sarah pursued me. After Emma and I had that big fight about kids, Sarah invited me over when you and Emma were both out. She said she wanted to talk about how to handle the situation. But when I got there, she had wine waiting, and she was dressed differently than usual. She told me she'd always found me attractive and that Emma took me for granted. She said we deserved to feel good. I'm not shifting all the blame. I could have said no. I should have said no. But Sarah knew exactly what she was doing. This wasn't some momentary lapse in judgment. She orchestrated it. There's more. Sarah told me she'd been unhappy for years and was planning to leave you anyway once Liam finished college. She said the affair gave her an exciting exit strategy. Those were her exact words. I have voice recordings of some of our conversations where she talks about this. I started recording after I got worried she might twist things if we ever got caught. I've attached them to this email. Again, I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just thought you deserved to know you're being manipulated in court. Tyler, I played the recordings with shaking hands. There was no mistaking Sarah's voice as she talked about her plans to leave me, how she'd been checking out of the marriage for years, and how Tyler was helping her feel alive again. In one particularly disturbing clip, she laughed about how clueless Emma was, saying, she thinks her biggest problem is deciding when to have a baby. I forwarded everything to my lawyer immediately. While Tyler's testimony alone wouldn't have meant much given his character, the recordings were indisputable evidence of Sarah's premeditation and lack of remorse. The next day, my lawyer presented the new evidence to Sarah's legal team. Within hours, she dropped the contest and agreed to my original terms. The divorce would be finalized within 90 days. Emma moved to Seattle as planned. She called regularly, and each time, she sounded a little better, a little stronger. She was making friends at her new job, exploring the city, even considering adopting a dog for companionship. I had dinner with a guy from the marketing department last night, she told me during one call, 3 months after her move. Just as friends, she quickly added. But it was nice to talk to someone new who doesn't know all my baggage. That's great, Emma. You deserve to have good people in your life. How about you, Dad? Are you doing any friend dinners? I laughed. Not yet. I'm still getting used to being on my own. You're only 52. You could meet someone else. Maybe someday, I conceded. For now, I'm focusing on myself. And I was. I joined a gym, started playing racquetball with colleagues, even signed up for a cooking class since my culinary skills had been limited to grilling and microwaving before. The divorce was nearly finalized, and I was slowly building a new life for myself. Liam's situation was more complicated. He remained torn between his anger at his mother and his deep-rooted connection to her. He visited her occasionally but kept his distance emotionally. He told me she seemed desperate to fix things, constantly bringing up the past and crying about her mistakes. She's seeing a therapist now, he mentioned during one of our weekly dinners. Says she's trying to understand why she did what she did. That's good, I replied neutrally. She needs to work through her issues. She asked about you. Wanted to know if you were seeing anyone. I sighed. Tell her my personal life is no longer her concern. Sarah made several attempts to contact me directly as the divorce neared completion. She sent a handwritten letter apologizing for the pain she'd caused, claiming therapy had helped her realize she'd been suffering from undiagnosed depression and a midlife crisis. She asked if we could meet in person, just to talk. I declined. Whatever closure she sought would have to come from within herself, not from me. The day my divorce was finalized, I took myself out to a nice restaurant, ordered a good bottle of wine, and toasted to new beginnings. As I sat there alone, I reflected on the past few months. The pain hadn't disappeared entirely, betrayal leaves scars that never fully fade, but it had dulled to a manageable ache. I'd lost my wife, yes. But I'd maintained my dignity, my relationship with my children, and my sense of self. In the end, that counted for something. 1 year later, life has a way of settling into new patterns over time. The sharp edges of trauma gradually smooth, and what once seemed unbearable becomes simply part of your story. Emma thrived in Seattle. She received a promotion at work and started dating again, cautiously at first, then with growing confidence. She'd even started speaking to her mother again, though their relationship remained fragile and limited to occasional phone calls. Tyler moved to Arizona after the divorce, apparently to live with a cousin. According to social media updates Emma had seen, he was working as a bartender and seemed to be struggling. Neither of us wasted much energy feeling sorry for him. Sarah sold our family home, too many memories, she told Liam, and moved to a condo downtown. She continued teaching but switched schools. From what I heard, she kept to herself mostly, her social circle having contracted significantly after the scandal. As for me, I was doing better than I'd expected. The company was thriving under my management, and I'd received an offer to become a partner, something I'd always wanted but had put off while focusing on family obligations. I'd even started dating, nothing serious, just dinner and movies with a woman I met at my cooking class. Teresa was divorced too, with grown children of her own. She understood the baggage that comes with rebuilding your life in your 50s. We moved slowly, both of us careful with our hard-won independence. Emma came home for Christmas that year, her first visit back since moving. We decided to host a small gathering at my new house, just the three of us plus Teresa and her daughter who was in town. Liam had initially invited Sarah as well, thinking it might be a chance for reconciliation, but I gently explained that while I'd moved on, I wasn't ready to socialize with her. As we sat around the dinner table, laughing at one of Liam's college stories, I looked at the faces of the people I loved most in the world. My children, resilient despite everything they'd endured. Teresa, warm and understanding beside me. Even her daughter, a new addition to our gathering, fit seamlessly into our dynamic. We were different than we'd been a year ago, changed in profound, irreversible ways by betrayal and loss. But we were not broken. We had rebuilt, rearranged, created something new from the wreckage. Later, after the dishes were cleared and everyone had moved to the living room for coffee, Emma pulled me aside. I saw Mom yesterday, she said quietly. How was that? Hard. But necessary, I think. She apologized again, for Tyler, for hurting me, for destroying our family. She seems genuinely remorseful. I believe she is, I said, surprised to find I meant it. Remorse comes too late sometimes, but it's still real. Emma nodded. She asked about you. Wanted to know if you're happy. What did you tell her? The truth. That you're building a good life. That you deserve every bit of happiness you find. She looked toward the living room, where Teresa was showing Liam pictures from her recent trip to Italy. I like her, by the way. Teresa. She seems kind. She is, I confirmed. But we're taking things slow. Smart. Emma smiled. Do you ever think about how different everything would be if you hadn't seen those messages that day? If you hadn't told me the truth? The question caught me off guard. Sometimes. We might still be living a lie, all of us. You deserved better than that. So did you, Dad. She hugged me tightly. Thank you for having the courage to blow it all up. In a weird way, you saved us both. I held my daughter close, thinking about choices and consequences, about loss and renewal. A year ago, I discovered a betrayal that shattered the life I thought I had. I'd walked away from a 29-year marriage, exposed painful truths, and set fire to the comfortable lives we'd all been living. It had been the hardest thing I'd ever done. But standing here now, In my new home, with my children healthy and healing, with the possibility of new love on the horizon, I knew without doubt it had also been the right thing. Some would say I'd acted rashly, packing a bag, filing for divorce, forwarding those screenshots to Emma. But I had no regrets. Sarah and Tyler had made their choices, and I had made mine. Now they were living with the consequences of their actions, just as I was living with the consequences of mine. The difference was, I could look in the mirror each morning with my self-respect intact. As Emma rejoined the others, I lingered in the kitchen for a moment. Through the doorway, I could see my family, changed but enduring. Broken but mending. I raised my coffee cup in a silent toast. To truth, no matter how painful. To courage, even when it costs you everything. And to second chances, hard-earned and precious.